Hello. Now I'm gonna talk about my marriage and unfaithfulness in my marriage from my wife. I married my wife in college in September 1996. And from that time, everything was good until after college. I returned home to work as a police officer. So I got a criminal justice degree, so I was at home working as a police officer. And things weren't going so good after a while. She started taking off. I can't say that she was with somebody. I never seen her with somebody. I never caught her with anybody. Only thing I can do is assume that it's possibly what was going on without knowing anything, facts or nothing. But she used to take off quite a few times. I can just assume that's what maybe what was going on without knowing anything or even hearing anything about what was going on with her when she would take off. But that happened quite a few times in my marriage with her. I only know of two guys. One was in my hometown when I was working as a police officer, and she ended up living with him for about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, somewhere in there. And that's the only first guy. That was the first guy that I know about. And every time she did take off, it did bother me, hurt me, wondering why this was happening, what was going on, what was causing this. I have no idea why. Only thing, I just, no idea. It did happen though, quite a few times. And this guy that she ended up with in my hometown when I was working as a police officer, she stayed with him for about 2 weeks. And that's where it really sunk in then. That, though, since she was taken off, was this the person that she would see when she would take off? I don't think I can assume because I never heard anything or caught everything, anybody or heard of nothing. So I can just assume it. But when she was with this guy, yeah, it hurt. It sunk in and really caused me some hurt. I would cry, cry because of what was going on, feeling sad and bad about it, hurting. Wondering why this was happening. What did I do to cause this? Was it from me or was it from her? You know, I tried to be the best husband I could, you know, try to take good care of her, try to give her the love that she needed. But just this stuff was happening. I think I'm just a magnet for bad things to happen in my life, for real. I had a lot of bad things happen to me. I went through a lot of stuff with people in my life. Now I'm going through stuff with my marriage, my first marriage. So when she was with this guy, yeah, it hurt bad. I used to cry, feeling sad about it. Another thing too is that not only you knowing that she was with somebody in your own hometown, but people knew you were married to her. And when I'd go out, it seemed like people were talking about me, about what was going on between me and my wife and her being with somebody else. So I had to go through that too. Just a lot of bad things in my life. This is one of them. Unfaithfulness. First time I got confirmation that she was being unfaithful with this guy. The other times I didn't have no information. I didn't know. Maybe it was the same guy that she was seeing when she take off earlier. The only thing I can do is just assume that this was going on. I don't know if it was with him or if it was with somebody else. Because I really don't know nothing when she take off. I never found out anything, never heard anything, never caught her with anyone. I can just assume that this was going on. And when she was with this guy, I kind of made my assumptions pretty right. So I can just assume that what was going on when she take off, that she was possibly with somebody else. It hurt when she took off each time. And yeah, the thoughts ran through my mind saying that she's probably with somebody else that well, I really couldn't say though, because I didn't know anything. So, but I can think those thoughts. Being worried, hurt by it, trying to get through it best you can. Try not to weigh on your mind, trying to just get through it. So the only thing I could do was just assume when she take off earlier, and I never caught her with anybody, I never heard her with anyone. So I didn't know what's going on. But when she was with this guy, kind of made my assumptions pretty accurate. Wow. I mean, can't really say that either, but it's possible that might have happened when she was taken off. If it was with him or if it was somebody else, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of hurt, a lot of sadness, a lot of feelings of, to me, I felt like I wasn't good enough. Mm, lied to, because I did ask her if she was going to do it again. Each and every time, I know. She'd say no. But she did. So I was lied to. But yeah, when she was with this guy, it really hurt bad, really hurt. Felt hurt, angry, what was going on. angry at her, angry at the situation, the way it was happening. Mostly hurt though. I even felt used, you know. She was just with me for, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like I wasn't good enough for her, but yet she was still with me and wanted to be around me and wanted to be married to me. So I just didn't know what to do about it. Um, I did leave. Quite a few times I left her. And every time she'd ask, she'd call me and ask me to come back. Now I try to talk with her about why I left and why are you always doing this, and she told me she wouldn't do it anymore. You know, she'll try her best not to do it anymore. But it happened again. Even after she said that stuff to me, it still happened. And this went on for about 7 years of my marriage. First year was good while we were married. Well, maybe less time, because I know we lived in Canada with her mom, but still, that she did leave. Hmm. But I went through a lot of that with her. Why I stayed married to her, I have no idea. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I left many times, and each time I was pulled back. I mean, she came and got me. She told me she wasn't going to do it anymore, and I believed her, trusted her. But each time she did it again. I mean, it was good for a while until, start again. Then I'll end up leaving again. It's like over a repeat, you know. Then went on to that for at least 6, 7 years, my first marriage, for early years. So I was married to her for 24 years. Married to her for 23 and a half. I was with her for 24 years. I knew her about 6 months before we got married. So that was the first guy, and that hurt me and devastated me. I did a lot of drinking, trying to drink my sorrows away, trying to get through it the best I can. When I wasn't drinking, and it was hard. It was hard. The emotions are just there: hurt, pain, sadness, lied to, felt used, felt abandoned, felt like I wasn't good enough. That was the first guy. That's the only guy I know of. The other times, I can only assume. I never caught her with anyone. And after that, well, later on down the road, there'd be the second guy. But yet you're still taking off. Wherever we're at, we worked lots around, different jobs throughout our lives, moved to different places. And she would take off sometimes from those places, and I can only assume because I didn't know nothing. The second guy, we were working at a casino. I guess he was too. And she started wanting to be with him, so things started going bad this time. I mean, our relationship was really deteriorating. I mean, bad. I try to keep it going, try to, you know, make things work. But it seems like she didn't want it this time, so I ended up leaving. And when after I left, well, she was already seeing this guy. When I found out, I knew about it. Wasn't so hard on me then, because it's what I've experienced already with her. So I knew it was possible it was going to happen again. So I wasn't just too rough, but yet I still had some tears about it. Still felt hurt. Just wondering why I was going through this with her, with somebody I playing weather balls with, you know. Married to her. This is about the 7th or 8th year now we were married. And so I left. I moved back home. It hurt having to have that come to an end. Trying to make things work, trying to do my best to have a good relationship with her, good marriage. Just it just wouldn't happen. Just wouldn't happen. Like she just take off, take off, and take off. Not all the time. I mean, she would. I mean, but I'd say about at least once a month. You know, not all the time. It wasn't like every day or every week or you know. But when it did happen, it bothered me. Got on my mind. Made me feel bad about it. Hurt. The second guy, she started a relationship with him after I left. I understood they were in a relationship. So I was at home, living with my aunt. Because I was having by this time my mother passed away. And I was living with my aunt because I wasn't having a good relationship with my father at all. I wasn't a very good relationship with my dad. So I was living with her, and I was about 2 months with her. This is in the early months of 2005. And I was back in April. About March and April, I moved home. That's when my relationship, my marriage was came to an end. I was at home, living with my aunt. And then a doctor, I don't recall how she got the number from my auntie's house, but she did call. Oh no. I think she called my cell phone. Yeah, I think the doctor called my cell phone if I remember right now. I was running by my hands, but yeah, I think that's what happened. Anyhow, the doctor explained what was going on told me that she was in a car accident and she's badly injured. And injury to her spinal. And they might be, well, she might end up paralyzed, she said. They're still working on her to see what's actually wrong there. And that they were going to call me back. So they gave me an update on this. And they did. Well, before he hung up too, he said that your wife just wanted to know if you'll come and see her. I said, well, I have to have my son here. I have to get some arrangements if I was, for somebody to watch him. So I'll let you know the next time. So he said, I'll call, and he said, I'll give you up-to-dates on her condition and stuff. I said, all right. The next time he called, I said, okay, I got somebody to watch my son. I said, I'll come and visit her. I'm come and see her at the hospital. It was about a 4-hour train ride. I got there in the middle of the night. Went up and seen her. We didn't talk right away. She was happy I was there. She was laying in her hospital bed. Just kind of a strange feeling, like, like what to do. What can I say? No. I don't know. I stayed there though, but later on we would talk, having heart-to-heart talk. But this time, yeah, the injuries to her spine were um, she was going to be paralyzed. So, from the waist down, or off from mid back, from so far in her up her spine. She had what it was called a T5 blow up, which means that whole vertebrae wasn't repairable. So, and everything was, I guess, her spinal cord and everything was cut. So, or something like that. I remember the doctors telling me it was like Swiss cheese. So many holes in it. The spinal cord. So, but I stayed with her at the hospital. As she got better, it took a while. She got better, and then they arranged everything for me to be her caretaker because they asked me if I wanted to take care of her, and I said, yeah, I'm her husband, so I said, okay. So they started training me and caring for her. I didn't really, it takes a lot to care for somebody that is physically paralyzed. It takes a lot. I didn't know that, how much work it took, but it took a lot. I learned this. I cared for her. When she got out, she was prescribed pain medication and I think fentanyl patches. I wasn't into this. I never needed this pain stuff and nothing like that. But a few years down the road, I would end up having a surgery on my leg, my left knee. Then from there, I started being prescribed pain medication because my knee was deteriorating and needs to be replaced. But the doctors wanted me to hold off for a while. So they started subscribing me pain medication. But she was already on it. I didn't really bother with her medication. I helped her take it and everything. But when I got on mine, this is first medication they gave me was a thing called Tramadol. I didn't know how addicted that was. It's a very addicted pain pill. I found out. And I was going through those pills as time went by. I was taking more and more. That's how addicted I was starting to get to them. Then I was upped. Well, I seen some specialists about my knee. Then they upped me to a higher uh, pain pill. Um, Oxycontin, oxycodone, or something like that. So I started taking those. Those were stronger than the Tramadol they had me on. So I started out with one pill, just regular prescription. Then later on, I started to get into taking two. It was like every 4 to 6 hours. So by me taking two, even more, three sometimes, that's how bad I got into it. Then I started going through my prescription before my next refill. So I started taking my wife's, and she let me take them. I wasn't secretly. I asked her, and she said, "All right." She helped me out with them. So I started getting hooked on these stronger pain pills, Oxycontin. They were higher dosages. And then later on, I started taking her fentanyl patches. She had fentanyl patches. I think they were pretty strong. I can't remember the dosage, but they were pretty strong. And I started getting used to those. Gave me this feeling of euphoria. I used to just lay there and just be in this state of euphoria, or however you want to say it. High. I thought no, well, not prescribed them, but my wife let me take some of them because she wasn't taking them all. It was just once in a while. Well, she was just had enough, anyways, for both of us on those patches. And then I was still taking the pain pills, but I was going through them fast. That's what I mean when I go through my pain pills. Then rather how much time was left for a next refill, like maybe a week, 10 days, maybe longer, 2 weeks. That's when I take those, put on a fentanyl patch. And that's how I started getting addicted to everything. So my wife, she was also addicted. We both were. my wife mostly stayed on her fentanyl patches because she got rid of some of her pills. She started doing that. I didn't do that with me. I mean, I was getting addicted to them where I didn't want to, sell them. But my wife would sell some of hers. Not all of them, but some, you know. And I was one that went out and made the deals. I mean, they weren't mine, but still, I was doing that for her because I was the only one to get up and go meet somebody. Or sometimes we were out and about, and I had my wife in the car with me, and somebody would call, call her, and we would meet somebody, and then it's amazing to see how many people are addicted to these pain pills. I didn't know this, but most of the people would crush them up and snort them up. I had no idea about that until I seen it. So, but we did do that. Now, in 2020, 20, I mean, got it wrong. In 2020, in February, my wife would pass away. And when she first got paralyzed, I remember that doctor pulling me aside. I did the surgery on her. He told me that the medication she's on will someday build up in her system. It's going to stop her organs because it's going to be so built up in her. He said maybe 15 years. But he said a lot can happen in 15 years. It can be another scientific breakthrough, and that would be a different drug that can help her a lot more better. Won't end her life. But she actually needs these pills in order for her body to function correctly, he said, because of her condition and what has happened to her body has changed. So I knew that, but I never told that to my wife, what the doctor told me. And it was about 15 years. And I remember, well, my wife went to the hospital frequently because of sometimes she got infections, urinal infections, so she had to go spend some time in the hospital. Not a whole lot, not just a few times here and there, but she always came home. Always came home, and that's what I thought, that when she went in there last time, that, she just needs medicine to help her recuperate, and she'll be back home, which has happened before quite a few times, But this time, I received a call from the doctor, and he said, you better get up here. I need to talk with you. And he said, is there any other family members around? And I said, I'd tell him to come up here too. I said, okay. So I told everyone, our kids. I think you all went up there. We all met up there. And I remember the doctor telling me that there's nothing more he can do for her. He said because her organs are starting to shut down. And he said that he gave her medication to keep her comfortable. But he wanted to know what I wanted to do. Because he said there's probably a chance that she will go into cardiac arrest, heart attack. So the machines will help keep her alive, he said. But it's up to you. He said, what do you want to do? And before this, my wife always talked to me about this. Said she never wanted to be kept on life support. She wanted to be let go. So I said, when this happens, when it's time for her, I said, she goes, I said, uh, I'll have you turn off the machines. So he said, okay, well, we'll wait and see how things work out, he said. So as we were all sitting there, all of a sudden the machine started going off. And nurses ran in and they said, right now, they said we should be giving her a shock. I said, well, what do you want to do? So I said, turn off the machines. So they turned them off. And they stayed there and they monitored her. They checked her pulse, her heart rate, or her heartbeat. But she didn't have one, nor her pulse. And later on, the doctor would tell me that it was probably good that she went right away. Because he said sometimes when they turn off those machines, people try to stay alive. So sometimes it's not a good thing to see, he said. So, and it appears that when you turned off the machines, had them turn them off, he said, sounds like she went right away. So, so now for me, how I sobered up, getting off those pills, is that there's so many drug companies being sued by them, by people who are dying and ODing over these pills. So these companies, these drug companies, were being sued by people, and they came out with a new pill. I can't remember the name of it, but it wasn't as potent or as strong, but it did help with the pain. Different. They put me on these pills, and I started coming off of the pain pills. You know how it made me feel. This because these new ones didn't make you feel that way. So I started being on these for a while. But that's how I started coming off these. I didn't quit or sober up. And these new pills helped me out to come off of them. These pain pills, that addiction I was on. Everything. And it helped. And then, maybe a year or two, somewhere in a year and a half, my knees were getting so bad that they said they wanted to start knee injections on me. See how that works. So I said, all right, tried it. Seemed to work pretty good. So they started taking me off this new pain pill that they gave me, the one that helped me come off these oxycodones and all that, the real pain pills. And that's how I mostly sobered up. I didn't quit. I mean, I had to go through rehab or nothing just to get off these. That's how I ended up sobering up from this addiction I had with these pain pills. And today now I'm sober. Been a while. Been a while. In 2017 I sobered up. Oh wow, in 2017 is when they started giving me those new pain pills. I think what about a year and a year, 2 years later, I started taking injections. So that's what helped me come off of my addiction to my pain pills. Sobered me up. I didn't have to go through rehab or see how that felt. So I was. Well, that's what happened. That's how I got off my addiction from my pain pills. But I know how it feels to be underneath underneath the pain pill addiction. I know how it feels. I know how fentanyl feels. How it makes you feel like you're in La La Land. I know how strong pain pills can make you addicted. I never experienced coming off of them, so I can't really talk about it. I can had some help. I mean, I'm thankful for this help because it did help me bring them off. I mean, help me get off these pain pills. It did the way it happened. So I really can't talk and say. Only thing I can talk about is when I didn't have them, when I was addicted, how it made me feel. The craving, wanting that feeling back. Even changed the moods. Kind of got angry. Didn't want to do much. Mood swings. I can't remember if I had tremors or not. I might have. If they were, they weren't very strong enough for me to remember if I did. I just know how I felt in my mind. I wanted more. I wanted to be back where I was at and high with these pain pills. So I know how that felt when I didn't have them, when I was out, when I was taking these pain pills. So I can only imagine how it would have felt if I tried to stop on my own and what I'd had to experience, which I never had to. So I'm grateful that things happened the way it did with these different pain pills that came out and helping get off the real pain pills that caused the addiction. And then later, years later, 2 years later, going into knee injections, which helped also. Helped me come off these even more. Everything. I mean, I'm still on knee injections today, but they don't put you underneath any type of euphoria or anything. They don't make you high or nothing. Just help your body deal with the pain. And I don't know how it does, but it does. I'm able to move around pretty good with just the injections. So, My wife's passing. I know we talked about it. She told me she didn't want to be kept on life support. She wanted me to have them turn off the machines. She always made me, tell her, make sure you do this for me. I said, all right, I will. So it was a very hard moment. All the kids were crying, hurting. And I think some of them even got mad at me for having the machines turned off. Without knowing what was really going on. No, I think they found out later with the other kids why it had to be done, because her body was shutting down. But yeah, I kind of felt that some of them were a little mad at me for having the machines turned off. Not much I could do there. I mean, her life came to an end. So, and they should know that I've talked with her. Wow, we did have this dog, and she wanted me to let her go. So I did. Hard decision, very hard. Very hard. The whole family was around her, so all the grandkids, kids, me. Hard time. Hard time in my life. Just some of this stuff I had to experience being married. My first marriage. Unfaithfulness. How I felt about it. Felt hurt. Used. Felt not good enough. Angry. Frustrated the way things were going. Then having to deal what would come later with this. My wife being paralyzed, taking care of her. Then the drug addiction. When I went to seeing her, I wasn't drinking so much. I did have a few drinks every once in a while. And we talked about that when she first got paralyzed, because that's what caused her accident was alcohol. Caused her to become paralyzed. And she wanted me to quit. I wasn't really drinking too much then, because I was living with my aunt, and my aunt was sober. And she wouldn't allow me to be in her house if I was drinking. So I really didn't drink too much around my aunt. But my wife talked about it, me and her, and she wanted me to sober up. It took a while. Mm, I always, when I first stopped, I felt that urge to go drink. Like I wanted it, like I wanted to get drunk. I felt this craving for it. Wanted to have a beer or even a shot of whiskey or something. After my wife passed away, I did get drunk. About a year later, this one day I decided to have a drink, and which led to a lot of other drinks, and I got drunk. And I drank for a while, not very long, maybe about a month or less. Anyhow, when I stopped, I realized just how difficult it was for me to stop. I had this see people get anxiety when they quit, or feel some kind of I can't explain it, but anyhow, that's how I felt. I thought it was anxiety. That's the way it felt to me. And this is when I was drinking, when I would sober up, try to sober up. But I always, when I started feeling this way, I'll have another drink or go get something to drink, and that would bring me back from not feeling that way. So now nah, I did come off. I was able to sober up. I'm only about a month drinking. Why I did some drinking though. It was getting hard there for me because I almost lost it. I mean, like, they say you need to go to the ER and get a shot for it. I never did, but boy, I would come close to going in there, getting that shot. And this is after my wife passed away, after I sobered up for the first time. It wasn't so hard then, wasn't. Maybe because I was more determined to quit because of what was going on with my wife. But after having those drinks and drinking for maybe I don't know if it was a month, maybe less. But anyhow, I got in there, and when I tried to sober up, I, I, I was told it's like an anxiety. I don't know what it's called. I never researched it. I never went to rehab for it or anything. But yeah, I was told you need to go to the ER and get the shots for it or something. I never did. I just kept going through it, and finally it ended and quit. But it was hard. I did feel very awful. Very awful. Can't explain it, but it was an awful feeling. I did have the cravings to drink again, but I wanted to quit. I did it before, I said I can do it again. I did. Took a while, but finally I was able to come out sober, and I haven't had to drop alcohol since then. Been a while now. I don't plan on ever drinking again either. or doing any type of prescription drugs, pain pills especially. None of those. I had my experience in them. I don't want to go back to that. Alcohol or anything like that. Enough for me. Been through it. It's good enough for me. I learned. So, some of the stuff I went through in my life, the loss of my wife, unfaithfulness, alcohol, and prescription pain pills abuse. Went through a lot in this part of my life, my marriage. So, I don't know if any of you are experiencing this. Hope not. Well, I hope none of you aren't. I just may say this. Hope most of you are doing okay out there. Thank you for watching, and I'll leave it here. Thank you.